Good evening. It's Thursday, November 20th, 2025. I'd like to welcome you to the meeting of the South Brunswick Board of Education and call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Statement of advance notice. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act NJSA 1046, also known as the Sunshine Law, was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting the interest is discussed or acted upon. The primary purpose is for board members to discuss and vote on board business. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the board secretary has caused notice to this meeting 48 hours prior, including date, time, and location, to be posted in the South Brunswick Public Library and Board Office, filed with the Township Clerk, and communicated to the Home News and Star Ledger. It is also posted on the district website. Roll call, Mr. Pulaski.
Ms. Julie Ferrara, Ms. Alicia Khan,
Here.
Mr. Raja Krishna, Mr. Barry Nathanson,
Here.
Mr. Mike Mitchell, Dr. Smitha Raj,
Here.
Mr. Rajesh Soni,
Yes.
Mrs. Deepa Karthik.
Here.
We have a quorum.
May I have a motion and a second to approve tonight's meeting agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Nathanson, seconded by Dr. Raj. All in favor? May I have a motion for approval of the board minutes of October 27, 2025? Dr. Raj. Ms. Khan?
Yep.
All right, I'll hand it over now to our student representative, Navya.
Good evening, everyone. Let's start off with some high school news. This Student Senate Vertical Race fundraiser was a major success, and we raised over $8,000. A portion of the proceeds will go to their NJASC state charity, which is the Crisis Response Canines, and the rest will support future government initiatives. Our most recent Student Senate meeting took place on November 11th. Student Council focused the month of November on supporting our staff veterans. Several bulletin board displays and posters were hung around the school to thank our 8 staff members for their service. Additionally, Student Council is also collecting donations for Mr. Ostrovsky, which is an SBHS health and PE teacher, and his troops are currently deployed overseas. Supplies and letters can be dropped off until tomorrow, November 21st. Student Council has kicked off their annual Deck the Halls fundraiser, where we decorate classroom doors for the holidays. This is a beloved SBHS tradition that we are very excited to continue. We've already received over 50 orders from our teachers. There are also several giving trees set up throughout the school. Students and staff can purchase gift cards and have their names added to the tree. The gift cards are given to families in need in South Brunswick, and we really encourage you to donate. Coming up, the class councils are also hosting their annual King of Prussia Mall trip. Currently, over 60 students are signed up to go. Yesterday, Mashio's Food, which is our food service provider, held a tasting event for members of our student advisory board at the high school. Students had the opportunity to try various potential new food items and provide their input and critiques. This was a really great opportunity, and the students thoroughly enjoyed it. Mashio's is offering this at each of the levels of our school, meaning our elementary, middle, and high school, and we really thank them for it. Moving on to athletics. The Vikings Marching Band is the 2025 U.S. Bands Group 5 Open New Jersey State Champions. On November 8th, they competed at the U.S. Band's National Championships at the MetLife Stadium, placing 4th out of 11th bands. This is their highest placement and score at nationals since before the pandemic. We're incredibly proud of their dedication and performance. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Navya. I'll turn it over now to our interim superintendent for his report, Mr. Pulaski.
Good evening, everybody. First off, I'd like to extend a sincere congratulations to our newly re-elected board members, Laura Hernandez and Barry Nathanson, Alicia Khan. And I'd also like to welcome Devin Patel back to the board. He was a board member back in the day when, I don't know, years ago, re-elected back at the dais. We're honored to have each of you on the board and look forward to next few years of your participation as board members. Congratulations. We have a few things just to appreciate everybody on. We have on Wednesday, November 12th, we were able to host a parent academy. I want to thank all the families and staff and community members who joined us. Special thank you to Ms. Blair Eisman for always organizing these wonderful events. Want to recognize our amazing team, Dan Brax, Sherry Sassine, Parna Rajapanal, and Skylar Gonzalez, Joe Persetti, Meg Berry, Lisa Maganello, and Dr. Evelyn Mammon for support and makes nights like that possible. So wonderful parent academy on AI and how it works in schools. Also had this past week, November 17th to the 21st was American Education Week, which honors the team of people who work in our nation's public schools. I just want to be a big shout out for everybody, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, teachers, cafeteria staff, nurses, administrators, and the many more. We all of you do an amazing job. I'm sure I missed a bunch of people in there, but definitely thank you to everybody who works so hard to make what happens here in South Brunswick happen every day. We have a couple of upcoming events. Constable has a turkey trot, 15th anniversary. 15 years they've been doing a turkey trot over at Constable School. 5K run. It starts November 22nd. Please sign up. You can find it on the website. Especially delighted to welcome Dr. Dana Miller, the visionary who started it all, as guest of honor this year. So we hope to see you there Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, for the 15th annual Constable PTO Turkey Trot. Heroes and Helpers with the South Brunswick Police Department. We're always excited for this program. It's an annual Heroes and Helpers program. Is going to be taking place at Target on Route 1 on Wednesday, December 17th at 4:15 p.m. This is when one student from each school is recognized for their community involvement or leadership in some capacity. Students are given a shopping spree with personal police officer as their shopping assistant. It's a wonderful program, Heroes and Helpers. And lastly, we have saved the date for South Brunswick Reads Night. Strong Roots, Strong Readers. We hope all the district families will join us for our 3rd annual SB Reads Night on Thursday, January 15th at 6:30 p.m. at the South Brunswick High School. Lastly, this evening, we're going to have a presentation on some redistricting that we've been working on here in the district. Our core team will provide a presentation on the results from their work. I'm sure there are already rumors swirling around South Brunswick with regards to redistricting, and please know we're staying in our current configuration at K5, 6, 8, 9, 12. The impact of this work revolves around the sending boundaries in a K5 elementary schools, the overall impact on our community, and rest assured, the families impacted or concerns about their children changing schools at this time is not going to have a massive impact on the majority of our population. But Rob, Pete, Christina, VC have done an amazing job. Jill Ottingnon's involved as well as our transportation coordinator, and project deserves credit, and we're gonna welcome them up and have them talk a little bit about their redistricting project that they've been working on for the past year.
Yeah, we thought so.
I'm gonna work from here if you guys are okay.
You got it, we'll
You guys have the stage. I'm just the opener and closer.
You're the boss, take it away.
So, good evening, everybody. A little bit about reconfiguration, redistricting study. Just real quick, tonight we'll hear an important update from our team leading the district's enrollment and budget impact study. Before they begin, I want to take a moment and just recognize the tremendous amount of work that these people have put in to get to this place. Mr. Ratine, our Director of Special Projects, Mr. Sears, and our District Music Supervisor, and Ms. VC, Principal at Constable School, have been at the forefront of this initiative. They've dedicated countless hours during the school day and well into the evening to guide this complex and critically important work. Along the way, they've partnered closely with our Director of Transportation, Mrs. Ottingnon, and whose expertise and tireless work has been invaluable as well. I also want to extend my appreciation to the many staff members who've supported them in stepping in and stepping up. Constable staff, their assistant principal, Ms. Lombardi, the music staff, the transportation department, and our nurses for their flexibility and understanding as your leaders devoted significant time to this project. While a few individuals may be presenting tonight, the progress we've made on this project has been outstanding and just has only been made possible by the collective efforts of the entire district. Like, so many people are involved in this work. We're grateful for the commitment and the partnership. And as we get into this update, I want to start by sharing the reason we're doing this is because we have an enrollment and budget challenges that are coming to face South Brunswick in the next few years. And addressing these best way we can right now and working hard to not sacrifice what's best for our students. So what brought us about to this work? Like, why are we here? Well, this board has certainly been kept updated since the committee's formation almost a year ago. And the community updates have been provided frequently along the way. We wanted to very briefly remind folks watching this evening about what brought about the need for this committee in the first place. Essentially why we're studying what we're studying. And I'm going to turn it over to Peter and VC to have that conversation and share why we're here and how we got ourselves into this situation to have this study. So take it away.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, for having us here tonight. And it's a pleasure to be back. For those who don't know, I'm Christina VC. I'm the proud principal of Constable. I'm joined tonight by Peter Ratine, the director of special projects. Robert Sears can't be with us this evening. He misses all of you, sends his best, and will be with us next time. So to answer David's question about what brought about this work, the quick summary is this. For many years now, our district's enrollment has been declining. It's been a steady decline, leaving open spaces in each building at each level in our system. However, a burst of new housing developments have been approved, are under construction, and/or have begun occupancy, bringing many new families to our township. As per the most recent demographer study, these new developments are predicted to yield 1,663 new students in the years ahead. At first glance, one might not see a problem, since enrollment has been declining and space is available as a result. But here's where things get tricky. The new developments are being built where there's land and space. The yellow areas on this map show where these new developments will be located. As you can see, they disproportionately fall on one side of Route 1, with the greatest impact to the Brooks Crossing Elementary School sending area. If boundary lines were to stay as is, the new construction would have a much more significant impact on some schools than others. This image helps to illustrate this. If our district doesn't take action, this is what the result of the new construction would be. Some schools or classes would be overcrowded, while others would have open seats available, leading to an inequitable educational experience for students and staff. In addition, some schools would run out of space with enrollment exceeding their building's capacity. It's not that we don't have space overall to accommodate many of the new families. We do. We just don't have enough space in the schools that are zoned to get the new families. So that is, in short, is what brought this committee to fruition. Recognizing the many challenges that this enrollment surge would bring, coupled with ongoing fiscal concerns that have been well documented and broadcast over the past few years, our former superintendent, Scott Fetter, pulled this group together to explore solutions and next steps. Broadly, the work was to explore 4 options. The first, no change or status quo. This entailed diving into the details of the developments to see if our current structures and boundary lines could withstand the influx of students. As we shared during previous communications, this isn't an option, as the approved construction sites are moving ahead and will yield a significant surge in enrollment. Another was to consider closing a school. This would address fiscal concerns and take advantage of the declining enrollment we've been experiencing. But again, we've shared that this doesn't work because of how quickly the remaining schools would overflow, resulting in the need to reopen the building in short order. Reopening a building comes with cost, so that's a fiscally short-sighted solution. The third was to explore reconfiguring or changing the organizational structure of our schools. Any reconfiguration would of course include a level of redistricting as students would move within the new structure. Tonight, we'll share more about the reconfiguration models we've explored and why the cost of transportation, challenges with timeline, changes in leadership, and more are causing pause with these models at this time. The final option was redistricting in and of itself, meaning without reconfiguration. At this time, the committee believes that this is the best path forward. From the beginning, each presentation or update we've done has included how redistricting would have to be a part of any reconfiguration plan. But redistricting in and of itself, without the reconfiguration, is the more conservative approach. What we would like to do now is walk you through what really got us to this decision and this point. So now Mr. Ratine is going to help us take a deeper look, and I'll be back.
So the story starts by sharing the process that we've been using to do this work. The process is cyclical. We're constantly in a flow of work and information that evolves. So let's take a deeper look at 4 key elements that came out of this. Much research was done, and we've highlighted a few things for you on the screen. As we've noted, we've reviewed the demographer study to see what predictions were made in terms of a number of families, the breakdown of ages, and when the rollout is expected to occur. We created and deployed a stakeholder survey to the entire SBSD community and carefully reviewed and compartmentalized every response submitted. We formed committees, included a core team of leadership from administration, the Board of Education, and instructional staff, as well as the formation of a 60-person community team to garner input from multiple perspectives. Additionally, gathering with former upper elementary school staff members gave important information to the reason UES was created, including strengths and weaknesses the model provided. We, along with other members of our core team, also took part in visits to neighboring school districts to learn about their models or configurations that align towards some of our potential models. Additionally, much work has been done to lay the groundwork necessary for multiple models to be explored and for the most viable of those to be built. Listed here are some of the things that had to be done. This was by far the most time-consuming part of the team's work, taking several months to ensure that all of the necessary data was collected and systems were built. We'll briefly share more about a few of those during tonight's presentation. As the work has progressed, some district transitions and system updates have occurred that have impacted or influenced the work. For example, we transitioned from partnering with our former superintendent, Mr. Fetter, to our interim superintendent, Mr. Pulowski. Since Mr. Pulowski has been our BA for some time, he was already quite familiar with the work, and as a result, that transition went smoothly. Around that time, however, we learned that there are significant limitations with what the transportation software could do compared to what we initially thought it could do. After much back and forth with software companies and our transportation director, we found workarounds. The problem there was that manual calculations were required, which obviously took longer to do. Once we got the transportation hiccups worked out, we began to explore the models as we promised. Since a full build-out of all models would be impossible with the timeline, the goal was always to explore multiple to determine the most viable to actually build out. While working on the models, we learned about the departure of a key member of our leadership team, Dr. Mammon. Many of the models we were exploring would require deep planning and oversight from the district's lead in curriculum instruction. So that was factored into our work when determining viability of some of the models. Then in realizing that the district's ongoing budget constraints remain without a sign of reprieve, our interim superintendent also tasked us with exploring a new model involving our preschool program. And we'll share a little bit more about that this evening as well. Then finally, we're excited by the earlier than anticipated arrival of our superintendent. We've already met with him, and he's here, and are looking forward to do so more often in the weeks ahead and months ahead as this work continues to unfold. And then finally, we've shared updates on a regular basis with the community. We launched a website where there's information on the process and regular updates and links to all communications and presentations. This one will be here soon after it's recorded as well. At nearly every board meeting, there has been an update either via the superintendent's report or a brief like this that we're doing tonight. And finally, several letters have been sent to the community to provide updates at important junctures. We will continue to communicate in these ways moving forward. So, know that was a lot. I've shared the creation, though, of our databases was integral for having valid numbers for this work. Just want to show you an example for reference. This will be kind of quick, but within the database, we built out many components. I am just going to quickly click through to show you some of what lives in this spreadsheet as we do iteration after iteration after iteration after iteration after iteration. All right, transportation is an important part. Looks at students either as special education self-contained or as general education. Genesis, our SIS system, looks at things a little bit differently. The two systems don't communicate well with one another for what we specifically needed for this work. So we had to essentially make our own school-by-school database in order to have the information necessary for this work. Here's what we mean when we say extensive build-out by school. We determine the exact number of pre-K students, the exact number of students sitting in general education classes, inclusive of many special ed programs, the exact number of special education students who are in self-contained classes, the 10-year historical enrollment for the school, including the highest. Then we isolated self-contained special education enrollment numbers, and then finally, the kindergarten projections for the next few years. We went through every building and manually entered that information. Now, if you were with us for any of the updates, especially from the beginning, you remember this grid is one we had received from the township. We requested an update recently and received a new grid a few weeks back. However, it's not necessarily fully currently up to date, and we know that's hard for the township and others to do. So notice in blue here, there's an additional approved development, which, while age restricted, was just new to us. One development's name changed, one development has been sold. One development states N for not yet under construction. However, we know that's not right. We've seen it. Another development states N for not yet under construction, yet already has 15 students that have enrolled in our schools. And we've also heard talk of additional developments as well. Though there's a fundamental problem with it, obviously. We're not getting timely enough data, and we know others aren't as well, and development's happening quicker than we can plan for. So having the most up-to-date information we know is crucial. So this committee has showed up to new build sites, talked to selling agents in the front office, driven by before and after school to check on progress. By the way, that's Beekman. Seems to be quite festive right now, right? The one in the middle top. Kept current on development's real estate postings and reached out directly to developers via cold calls and emails to make contact. While we've been in pursuit of the most up-to-date information possible, the updates and changes come fast and furious, often changing quicker than we can keep up with, and really there's no one-stop shop to get it.
So we've been doing our own real-time tracking. By speaking directly with the developers and visiting sites, we have a better sense of which projects are actually moving and which units are realistically coming online. The timing piece is just as important as the overall projected number of students they've provided. Another significant piece to our planning is ensuring that we know our facilities and spaces. Each of our school buildings are outfitted completely differently. Any reconfiguration or redistricting would need to take into account the physical structures of each of these buildings: bathroom accessibility, group spaces, unique room layouts, etc. We need to know this, especially in a time when we don't have the money to make extensive adjustments to any building. Even just a redistricting requires deep knowledge of the buildings because not all of the classrooms, even within a building, are the same size and can't hold the same number of students as a result. So I'll give an example from Constable. Constable has 4 classrooms that are much smaller than the others. On a map, those rooms look like they can hold a similar number of students to the other classroom spaces. But in reality, they can't accommodate a full class of older students at all, or more than 20 students in the lower grades. Ultimately, just like we had to zero out where all of the transportation was coming from based on general education and special education, we had to zero out our buildings to understand spaces and classrooms. While doing this work, we got maps from every building, followed up with several building administrators, secured scaled maps from buildings and grounds, and conducted site visits of each hallway in every elementary building. And circling back to something we mentioned earlier, we have many special education programs in South Brunswick, and self-contained programs max out at a lower number of students than general education. Some may have a limit of 10 or 12, preschool maxes out at 15, things like that. So while the occupancy of rooms has to be determined, the knowledge of the programs taking place in the buildings is equally as important. The reason we wanted to share this with you, again, is because the occupancy is a really hard thing to determine. The demographer and the architect, for example, see occupancy very differently than we do once we put specialized programs into these classrooms.
So we share all of that with you to ensure that you all know and have an understanding of the foundation upon the model build-out work that was done. With foundational data in place, we were able to explore the reconfiguration models that came from the community stakeholder team's work. So the models to explore were these: redistricting only, as well as the model of K2 and 3-5, the model of K3 and 4-5, fifth grade to middle school, and remembering that each one of those models naturally embeds redistricting, as we mentioned earlier, and then the piece of the pre-K exploration of that expansion model.
Hey, Pete, real quick.
Yep.
Can you just go back to that slide and be
Sure.
a little bit more specific?
Sure.
This means that we would have K2 buildings and 3-5 K2 grades in one building and grades 3-5 in a number of buildings in the district as well. So, correct.
Thank you for clarifying
Yeah.
that. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's look at that K3, 4, 5 model. And David, thank you for clarifying, because that is an important way to look at it. And so when building this model, we had to take into account busing students who would be former walkers or car drop-off in their current elementary schools, meaning the district doesn't pay for them to use transportation right now. When we did this across the board, the transportation impact would require 18 additional bus routes, which would cost an estimated $1.26 to $1.62 million. In our current financial position, the sheer cost of busing alone halted the recommendation to move forward with this model. Now, the work done to explore the K3, 4, 5 model came in handy when shifting to explore the K2, 3, 5 model. So a little bit different than this, but similar in K2 in certain buildings, 3, 5 in certain buildings. Many of the same challenges exist. In the model of K2, 3, 5, we would still be transporting a significant number of students from their home school, which would increase transportation costs. Additionally, 3, 5 would actually not fit in our 2 designated upper elementary schools. Think about that as Brooks and Indian Fields as the upper elementary schools, and they wouldn't fit all 3, 4, and 5 split in those, which would require us to add a 3rd upper elementary school. That poses a unique challenge, though, as grouping grades 3 through 5 together wouldn't fill that 3rd building now, while K2 students wouldn't fit in the other buildings that would remain. So as such, we'd have to consider at least one hybrid school, meaning at least one school with a different grade level configuration than all of the others. While we've seen that type of model in action during one of the site visits we conducted in a neighboring district, it isn't preferred, and it's not a good scenario that we believe here. While the transportation costs are a clear deterrent to moving either of these models forward, it's important to note that both reconfigurations would require significant partnership and oversight from the superintendent and curriculum and instruction department seat, which are in transition. So we took some time to explore the idea of moving 5th grade up to middle school. To be honest, in terms of cost, there's some interest in this model in the sense that many busing routes already exist and students from all over the district are already bused to the Crossroads site. Some buses would need to be added, but not as many as the K3, 4, 5 model. Additionally, there's a decent amount of space in the middle school due to the decrease in enrollment, and should the district ever need to build, this is one large site, and it would be more cost-effective than adding or modifying multiple landlocked elementary buildings. However, the reality of this model would mean, once 5th grade is removed, all the elementary schools still need to be redistricted because of where the new students are moving in. So that significantly disrupts all elementary schools. On top of that, we would need to disrupt middle regardless of whether it's a 5-6 in one building, 7-8 in another, or 2 5-8 schools. While it is a more viable option than the last one, there's still cost and there are still concerns about the possibility of more middle school students moving in. Meaning, what if many kids move in that are in grades 5 through 8 and we outgrow it quickly like UES experienced years ago? And finally, compounding all of that, the level of disruption to the full K-8 structure without, again, C&I and with the new superintendent along with significant staffing shifts seems irresponsible to pull off right now. This disrupts elementary, disrupts middle, and increases transportation costs. Each of the three previous models involved additional costs. Now, recognizing this, Mr. Pulowski approached us with an ask to explore the preschool expansion model in an effort to produce more cost savings, as we know we expect to start the 26-27 school year $3.2 million in the hole. As a reminder, preschool is funded through the grant from the state, not from our local district budget. Since this model was the only that showed promise for addressing the fiscal concerns, we spent an incredible amount of time building this out from soup to nuts. This one did have some savings, but unfortunately not what we had hoped for. In reality, this model of centralizing a pre-K expansion school would have offset the deficit anywhere from $1 to $1.6 million. The only way to do it, though, would be to centralize pre-K students in one of our existing K-5 buildings, adding that building onto the existing Dayton and Dean's building structures. Essentially, though, taking one of the elementary schools offline. This would result in overcrowding the remaining 6 elementary schools almost immediately at a time where we're expecting significant growth in the years ahead. In this case, while there would be some financial benefit, it would be a very short-sighted solution with our growth challenges. Just want to mention, in addition, the pre-K program would not be able to grow within the district as well, and there would be significant redistricting to all 6 remaining elementary schools in addition to maxing them to capacity. So to boot, changes of any kind to pre-K grant funding could happen and impact this plan. We know that's an unknown. So the challenges with all the other models became obvious as they were vetted, which is what brought us to redistricting only, back to where David started us off tonight. Redistricting was not only one of the 4 big buckets we set out to explore at the beginning of this work, but it was also naturally embedded in each reconfiguration model as we explored. As a result, we spent a lot of time with various iterations of redistricting and are confident that with further build out and refinement, we will have a redistricting plan that will meet our current needs. While there is still much work to be done in terms of the specifics, here are some of the benefits of pursuing redistricting instead of some of the other models previously mentioned. Disrupts a percentage of students, but less than reconfiguration. Maintains a known structure during a time of significant district transition. Provides a few-year buffer to track growth, which is a very real challenge. It doesn't have us prematurely spending on transportation as students start to trickle in, which we know is starting to happen. It allows us to right some wrongs in transportation to open seats where needed, which brings some potential savings. And it prepares us for the projected growth while allowing new leadership to get acquainted and inform long-term planning. And finally, it keeps, as David mentioned at the beginning, it keeps all other options on the table down the road if needed. So in the weeks ahead, we will be digging further into this work with the district's core team, community team, and leadership. The main challenge remains understanding the rate of growth and building a plan that will sustain beyond the immediate. This slide is one that we previously shared and reminds us all, while we're focused on the new development growth, we need to be prepared for housing turnover that will one day come. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Pulowski. I know he wanted to elaborate on this and summarize where this leaves us.
Yes. So just real quick for everybody who's online or in the audience. Right now, what we have in our situation, our current situation, is the developments. So we know some developments are coming online. We're already producing some students in schools. Right now, we are very aware that we have some crowded classrooms. We've done some things currently in our current environment to shift students away from elementary schools who are being impacted in this negative way. And any new students who enroll, for example, in a Cambridge school in grades K through 3, those students are being moved to Monmouth Junction because Monmouth Junction doesn't have the large class sizes that Cambridge currently has. Another elementary school that we have that's been impacted is Brooks Crossing. We know that there's a section in Brooks Crossing where we actually have 26 kids in a 3rd grade classroom. The issue with Brooks Crossing is simply that school is not around any other schools that we could transport students to easily to get them to another elementary. So we had a family move into Brooks Crossing. They moved in right across the street from the school. And where do we send them? You know, we're gonna send a bus that's gonna cost transportation to pick up a student who lives right across the school that they're supposed to be going to ship them across the township to Monmouth Junction. It just doesn't work. So unfortunately, we're living through a scenario where we know we're pushing class sizes. right now in Cambridge, class sizes are capped at 25. And I can tell you, if anybody looked at our class sizes across the district, you can see the inequity. It's obvious. We have some schools that really have 14 kids in an elementary classroom. We have other schools that have 25 kids and they're capped. That's not a scenario that South Brunswick is used to, and it's not one that we support, and it's not one that's going to last past this year. The whole reason for this study is Mr. Fetter and I saw this coming. We knew that we would be here one day with these class sizes impacting these specific towns or little boroughs in South Brunswick. Our first year together in South Brunswick, we actually met with the township, and the township was fighting all of these developments in court. But they did tell us this is coming, and they started sending us plans. And Scott and I sat down with a whole design of development and actually went through and put numbers and did some math and figured out how many kids were coming to which developments first. We saw it coming, we know it's coming, we know it's here. We feel your pain. We know, I've gotten some of the emails from some of the people in the community, and we're very aware of it, and we're using this model to address it. The increase, there's two pieces that we can run into with enrollment. The first piece that we're dealing with now is the development, the enrollment coming from, or increased enrollment coming from the development. That's the redistricting that we're putting on the table now addresses that enrollment increase from the development. What we're seeing in town, though, are the reason for our decrease in enrollment over the past 5-6 years is that the housing market isn't one where people are looking to sell homes right now and move to another town. We have attritioned out a lot of students out of the district who have graduated, but their parents and families aren't selling those homes. They're sitting in big homes. I'm one of them. I'm sitting in a big home. I'm sitting in a 4-bedroom house with my wife and I, because what do you do in New Jersey? You sell your home and move into a condo, and you're spending just as much as you spent on your home every month. So there's a second ripple effect that can occur in our scenario, which we have to be very clear with everybody. This redistricting addresses the development. It doesn't address the housing market shift and turnover, where 1,500 students coming from development we can handle. We have another 1,500 students that we lost in the past 4 or 5 years, 6 years, to just a stagnant housing market. If those houses flip and the developments come in at the same time, we're looking at 3,000 new students coming back or showing up in South Brunswick, and that's going to bring a whole nother level of this work to the forefront. So this project, as much as we're saying right now, we're looking at redistricting for the beginning of next year. This project is alive and has to continue to work. The work has to continue in the township so that we understand and are ready and prepared for if that second wave comes from the housing market turnaround, or the current market sale of homes. And that increase is a whole nother whammy that we're gonna have to prepare ourselves for. So those are the two scenarios that we're preparing for. The first is, yes, obviously the development, we see it currently in our schools. The second is the housing market and a turnaround in the housing market and the impact that that could have on our town and on our schools as well in that enrollment. So that's the real challenge. That's where we're at. And I just have a real quick here. Did I cover everything? I didn't want to bring so much up. So that being said, now that you've seen this and I hope to understand the best option for us right now is kind of being in the redistricting model, only because we're preparing ourselves for what we know is coming. And to be clear for the community as well, when we move through a redistricting, it's not that we're gonna say, okay, now all of the kids across the district in the elementary school level, every classroom's gonna have 21 kids or 20 students or 15 students. You can't put a number on that class size because we can't determine where the kids are going to come from in those developments. You have somebody move into a development and you have from one development, you can have 6 fifth graders and 2 first graders and no second or third graders, you know, so we can't, depending on where the kids come in, that's just statistically, you can't even put a number on that. So just know that we're still gonna have fluctuation in class sizes, but we're gonna have to talk amongst ourselves and a leadership team and a board to determine what does that optimal class size look like? What's the max look like and what's the min look like? So that being said, we're all set.
And I would just say that the timeline that we had originally set forth when we started this work and first even shared with the board is still on track. So while some things may have like shifted here and there, we still plan by February to come back after all of the work of doing the behind the scenes with a final redistricting in place to present. So I just wanted to let you know the timeline is still active and we're still on track for that.
Exactly.
All right.
And we do want to thank
Thank you.
everybody for all the work that's been put into this project. It's a ton of time and effort, and thank you so much, Peter, DC, and Rob Sears, if you're watching, and Jill.
Thank you.
Yep, and Jill. Can't forget Jill. Thank you much. Appreciate it. You guys have questions?
No, I did. Can I say something?
Yeah, questions, go ahead.
I just want to compliment the committee and the leadership, you know. Rob's not here, but, you know, Peter and VC have done an amazing job, and it's not that easy. The community doesn't really know on a whole that the developments are kind of spread out throughout the town. They go all the way down Route 1, almost out of the town, and all the way the other way too, almost into Monroe. So it's kind of all over the place. And the biggest thing is last time we did a redistricting, we were talking market value homes. Now we have condos, we have houses, we have rentals, we're kind of all over the place. So, and those, and you know, you guys and I have spoken, and it's how the developers are working their development too, you know, because is it market value at this point? Was it way, at some point it was way too high and they've dropped it already? You know, so it's real hard to get a kind of grasp on, okay, well, they have 2 bedrooms, or they're gonna be kids, you know, and what age are those kids? And we have no clue of that. So it's a lot of guessing involved. So I wanna thank you for all the work you've been doing.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
Let's move on.
So I just had one question, if you don't mind. Firstly, thank you so much for your work, Mr. Dean, VC. Thank you so much for all of the detailed analysis that you've put in. It's a lot of work. I had one question. You had mentioned about the interview UES. So can you expand on that? I didn't follow what that was.
Many years ago, our district did something like this and formed the upper elementary school. So at that time, it was a big change. And we actually interviewed 3 district administrators. We spent like 3 hours with each one of them to learn how that transition started and how it ended. And then over the summer, we held what we called a reunion, but it was basically an interview with all the remaining staff members that we could find. We brought them to the board office and we asked them for the strengths, the weaknesses, the transitions, the challenges, and tried to learn from what this looked like before. So there was a time that Crossroads North looked different and had our 5th graders there and already had this sort of model that we looked at in place, and it was called the upper elementary school. So we refer to it as UES lovingly. It did end because it outgrew at the middle school. It grew faster than these two buildings could handle, and at that time, the elementaries could handle more. And so after a few years, fifth grade came back to the elementary school. But we have all that information, data, we've synthesized that. We'd be happy to share any more, if you'd like. But it was really, we wanted to make sure that we were researching with other districts, researching in general, but then putting it homegrown. What did it look like when it happened here? And what did that feel like for staff, for students, for families? And what would it look like if we tried it again?
Got it.
Does that help?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, guess we can move on. All right, so the next order of business is board committee and liaison reports. First, I'd like to call upon Ms. Khan for the policy committee.
Yes, the policy committee has not met, so I have no updates at this time.
Okay. For finance, I guess Mr. Mitchell is not here, so I don't know, Mr. Pulaski, do you have anything? Did not meet, okay. Business operations, Mr. Krishna is also not here.
Did not, we did meet, we talked about community solar as a project. There is a motion on your agenda to approve a bond council with Willens. Willens just went through the community solar project with Brick Township, and they have all of the specs lined out. So in terms of a bond council, they're already prepared. So us approving them tonight doesn't incur any expense. All the expenses through community solar in this project will be borne back to the contractors who are building solar. So it's a non-expense motion. It just approves them to do the work for the town or for the district.
Got it, okay. Education, I know Ms. Hernandez is not here. Are there any liaison reports, anybody?
I'm chair of the education committee.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So we did meet, we discussed at that point, some of the CUSAC stuff, and, Suzanne made a presentation, and it was a very good presentation, and, we learned a lot. I don't know, Suzanne, you're gonna bring it to the rest of the board at some point, or?
Mr. Nathanson, that was the presentation that we did with
Oh, okay.
Mr. Pulowski and
That's
Mr.
right.
Ratine on the
That's-
achievement results.
Right, thank you. Sorry.
No worries. Okay. Liaison reports, anybody? Okay. All right, moving on. Old business, we have none at this time. New business, we have none at this time. So I think we can move on to our consent agenda review and walkthrough. Mr. Pulaski?
Yep. So pretty quick agenda, consent agenda this evening. We have some transfers, financials, all of your business office operations, the bills list, accepting a donation. We have a couple jointures. Just know that one of our jointures, 1.5, is for a McKinney-Vento student that's in Somerville. It's backdated because it was from last year. They just notified us this year that they had that student, and we went ahead and had to pay for some transportation for that student. So the second approval of a contract is for a student with an out-of-district placement. So we have some non-public technology orders, preschool projected enrollment. We have a preschool operations plan. I can send those out to everybody. We didn't include them in the backup. We haven't historically done that, but if somebody's interested in that, I do have those plans and that enrollment projection. We have our school district goals. We're doing a second reading and adoption of policy. We have a statement of assurance for our building checklists. We're updating our Kelly Education pricing agreement. We're approving a service agreement with the South Brunswick Township Aquatic Center over at North Brunswick High School. We have a resolution for our transportation. We have a resolution for our field trips. We also have our harassment, intimidation, and bullying report that's approved. We have some out-of-district placements. We're approving for our out-of-district placements for the 25-26 school year. And we have some extension for some professional services in our special education department. And then we have a contract renewal for GOMO. And we're approving the appointment of Willens to serve as our bond counsel for our projects, for one specific project in that community solar. And we're approving our budget calendar for the school district for next year's, or this year's budget calendar for next year's budget. And then you have your consent, or your personnel. And that's your consent agenda. If there's any questions.
Just a comment and my observation and perspective, more specifically about district goals. So first of all, thank you. I think the V2 of, or version 2 of district goals is very good compared to what we started with previously. And thank you for adopting to and aligning to the SMART principle. I think it makes it much more clearer for us to kind of understand what is the end result, how the district benefits, etc. So that's great. I think we are going there, but I still believe our goals are more focused towards more on the administrative side rather than the student achievements, and more on enhancing education, for example, in curriculum, or identifying more goal that we can achieve. It's a little bit of mix of approach, like reviewing, monitoring. I don't personally consider that as a goal. So I think what we should as a group have a little bit more aspiring goal that we can drive towards and meet towards it. So while, again, this is a good step, identifying KPI is good. I love the ZBB approach. I really appreciate the 5% increase goal that you have for ELA and math scores. It's very good, but I just think if we jointly have a goal to really improve our district and take it forward and above, I think we have to kind of do a little bit more on the goal side, and especially kind of focus more on student achievements and how we can get more out of it. So that's my only observation. I think it's good. It's getting along, and I understand the transitionary period. I know it's not always easy, but that's an area I would say we really need to focus a little bit more for us as a group to kind of move forward. So that's my observation. I know we have back and forth. You have my feedback more on it, but that's an area where I think we as a group should spend some time on it.
Any other comments? All right,
I need a motion, right, for this one?
you need a motion.
Okay. May I have a motion and a second for the consent agenda, please? Dr. Raj, a second, moved by Mr. Nathanson. Roll call,
Alicia,
please.
excuse me?
Roll call?
Yep, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Alicia Khan? Barry Nathanson?
Yes.
Dr. Smitha Raj?
Yes.
Mr. Rajesh Soni?
Yes, for all except district goals. As I explained, I'm very happy with what we have, but I think we need to do a little bit more, focusing on areas which will take our school district forward. Thank you.
Ms. Deepa Karthik?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Moving on to public comments on any topic.
We have some pre-registrations this evening for public comment.
All right, I do need to read the notice.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yep,
Yes.
you're gonna do your thing
Yeah.
first, go ahead.
The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comments on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Complete copies of Policy 0167, which govern this portion of the meeting, are available to the public at the auditorium entrance, online, or by contacting the board office. To permit the fair and orderly expression of comments, we ask that participants be recognized by the presiding officer and preface comments by announcing his or her name, place of residence, and group affiliation if appropriate, and by completing the sign-in sheet. Please print legibly, or we may be unable to document your name for the permanent record. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic. Mr. Pulaski will indicate when you have 15 seconds remaining. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question the board members. No discussion between a participant and respondent shall extend the 3-minute time limit, with a total time limit of 1 hour. It is our plan to listen to each member of the public. Once all questions and comments from all members of the public are made, the Board of Education may respond or respond via email in the most timely and efficient manner available. All questions and comments will be noted. The Board of Education emphasizes the importance of respectful and professional expression of opinions and comments. Mr. Pulaski, please let me know who's registered.
We do. We have, is there a Lynn Monday here? Yes. You're up.
Hi, my name is Lynn Monday. I have 3 children currently enrolled in South Brunswick schools. I have a 9th grader at the high school, a 7th grader at Crossroads South, and a 4th grader at Indian Fields. I wanted to speak at today's meeting to encourage the board to plan for school not to be in session on days when voting occurs. So 5 of our South Brunswick schools, so it's Indian Fields, Constable, Brunswick Acres, Crossroads South, and South Brunswick High School are used as polling locations. Polling sites are specifically picked because they can accommodate a large number of people to both come and leave the school. Unfortunately, what this means for those 5 schools and the students that are in them, they become accessible to a large number of people without any normal security measures that are usually in place. So on a typical school day, if a visitor wants to come into school, they need to ring the doorbell, they need to get into the vestibule and show ID in order to enter the building. But when voting takes place, all these measures are suspended, and literally anyone is allowed to enter into the school, whether that even is their voting location. Our schools do their best to limit people to the voting areas, but truthfully, access inside the school building provides more than enough opportunity if someone were to come with ill intentions. This year's election saw an increase in the number of threats at polling locations in New Jersey, including one at North Brunswick. And while South Brunswick has not had issues in the past, decisions about safety need to be made with focus on potential risks. We see many schools across the state proactively closing on election day, and I would like to ask the board to close South Brunswick schools on days when voting will occur. The date for this school year for voting still is on Tuesday, June 2nd. The dates that will occur in the 2026-27 calendar are November 3rd, 2026, and June 8th, 2027. Having this conversation now and making the decision not to have school in session when voting takes place gives us the certainty that we'll never have to answer the question, why did we ignore the risks and have children present in schools on election day? Thank you.
Thank you. We have Mr. Syed.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Arid Syed. I'm a South Brunswick resident. I'm a local attorney, and I'm a parent of 2 kids who go to Cambridge Elementary School. I'm here on behalf of many Cambridge families who are concerned about classroom support and large class sizes at our schools. We appreciate the district's transparency and the written response we received from Mr. Pulowski. We understand the challenges created by the S2 funding and the strain it has placed on staffing. However, despite these challenges, the reality is many Cambridge classes have 25 to 28 students. My daughter's own 1st grade class has 25 students with a teacher teaching for her 1st year with 25 rambunctious 1st graders and no support. I'm sure many of you here have heard about this specific class at Cambridge Elementary School. The teachers are doing whatever they can, but the current structure makes it incredibly difficult to meet the academic, behavioral, and emotional needs of such large groups of young children. At back to school night, members of the Cambridge faculty shared that teachers are struggling and feels that their hands are tied. They encourage parents to speak up at the Board of Education meetings because they feel they cannot advocate for themselves publicly. And I think that is a grave issue. Our parent group now has over 100 signatures on a petition asking for additional classroom support. Families are united, respectful, and committed to working with the district, not against it. Now, I understand there's a redistricting plan in place, and I commend everybody on their hard work. But to be quite frank, it's not good enough. My daughter needs to go to school tomorrow. Our kids have to be in school until June 26th, and we cannot wait until the new school year for something that may or may not help them. They're in 1st grade, and numerous parents are complaining. We all talk. We're all on WhatsApp now. Everybody knows each other, and everybody is extremely upset in the first grade and specifically in this class. Kids do not want to go inside the school building. Come to Cambridge Elementary School any morning and you'll see little children hugging onto their parents, crying, not wanting to go in the building. And this is a huge problem. I understand first graders are young, they're rambunctious. Not many have self-control. That's why the teachers need support. They need paraprofessionals or student aides, teachers' aides.
Thank you.
There was a program with the colleges, and I
Thank you, sir.
understand there's.
Your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to finish with something needs to be done because these first graders do not want to go into the school. Kids who were in kindergarten who loved school, now they're
Thank you.
scared to go to class, and the Board of Education needs to make changes today, not in the next school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Devin Patel?
Good evening, Devin Patel, Dayton, New Jersey. Dear Ms. Vice President, Board of Members, and the community, South Brunswick community, I would like to take an opportunity to thank you for electing me to this board. I am honored and I'm honored by your support and confidence in me. So I do hear all the comments and everything. That's what all the feedback also got during my campaign. And I ran my election campaign on base of experience, collaboration, and progress. And that's what I'm committed to delivering my promises. I look forward to working with you, the Board of Education member, my fellow Board of Education members, my administrative team, to make our kids' future better and betterment of this town. Thank you.
Thank you. It's open. Any other public comment?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kimberly Donaldson. I live in South Brunswick. Good evening, and thank you for giving me a chance to speak. I'm here tonight as a parent who is scared, angry, and exhausted because my daughter had faced 7 incidents of harassment this year alone. 7. And when I finally reached out to our community to ask if anyone was experienced this, my inbox was flooded. Parents from elementary school, the middle school, the high school, all telling me the same thing. It's happening to my child too. One parent told me their child tried to take their own life because of the bullying they endured. This should never happen, ever in any school, let alone ours. New Jersey anti-bullying bill of rights is supposed to protect our kids from exactly this. It says harassment, intimidation, and bullying, especially motivated by race. My daughter's African American, must be addressed. Our school did the investigation, and I'm grateful for the staff who tried, but it's not enough. The consequences don't match the harm being done, and the sport isn't strong enough to stop this from happening again. My daughter feels defeated. She feels judged by the color of her skin, and I know she's not the only one. We cannot keep treating these incidents like separate contained problems. There is a pattern, and a pattern like these that keeps happening, something is broken. I'm asking the board for stronger actions, real actions. Mandatory counseling and sensitivity trainings for students who target others with hate. Parent involvement when children is responsible because some of this behavior starts at home. More assemblies, more conversations, more opportunities for students to be empathetic. A buddy program where older kids can mentor the younger ones so every student feel connected and seen. And above all, better protection and support for the victims who are suffering in silence. This is not a punishment. It's about change. It's about safety. It's about dignity. As adults, parents, educators, leaders, we are responsible for the environment our children grow up in. It truly does take a village, and right now our village needs to step up. To every parent listening, talk to your children tonight. Ask them if they're being bullied. Ask them if they've seen something happen to someone else. And if they have, report it. Don't let fear keep us from protecting our kids. Our children deserve a school where respect is the rule, not the exception. And I'm begging all of us, let's fix this together. And I wrote this last night. And after I wrote this, my daughter comes crying to me again because there's an 8th incident. She kicked and cried, begging me not to take take her to school, and I had to unenroll her today. So she's no longer in the South Brunswick system because I just feel like we're not doing enough to protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? You can close this section.
All right, we'll close this section of public comments. Everyone who's made a comment here today has been noted, and Mr. Pawlowski will reach out if there is any further action that will be taken. All right. So before we close tonight, I also want to acknowledge Mr. Pawlowski. This is your last meeting as our interim superintendent.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I wanted to make a small comment on, on your period here as our interim superintendent. So on behalf of the South Brunswick Board of Education, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks for the leadership, integrity, professionalism, and care you have shown during this transition period. Your guidance has provided much needed clarity and stability, and our schools and community have benefited because of your efforts. Your time as our interim superintendent has proven that good leadership is steady, humble, silent, and mature. It's devoid of theatrics and loud proclamations. The theme that you have selected for our district is grounded in simplicity and meaning, for which we are very grateful. Thank you for the dedication and the time you have invested in supporting our staff, students, and families, and for helping paving the way for a smooth path forward. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I truly appreciate the opportunity. It was a learning experience, definitely.
Dr. Raj has a quick comment.
Thank
One
you.
more?
Yeah, thank you. I would.
I'm coming back to work tomorrow, just so everybody's aware.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
But I appreciate everything that you did, and keeping the ship steady. And I definitely want to acknowledge the weekly updates you used to send. It was eye-opening, just to see how much effort that was going in.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. All good?
All good.
All right. So I think we can close our meeting for tonight. Thank you, everyone who's watching and who've come. A motion to adjourn, please.
Move.
Nathanson.
Dr. Raj, second, moved by
Nathanson.
Mr. Nathanson. Okay. All right.
You have the next meeting is?
Yes, our next meeting is, sorry, I don't have the date here. Thursday?
Yeah, it's December
Dece-
19th.
December 19th?
December 19th, I believe.
Okay. So we may meet next December 19, 2025. 18th.
December 18th.
My mistake. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, South Brunswick. Thank you, everyone, for coming here tonight.